right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Friday Five. Today, I wish we had a better topic to talk about, but today we're going to talk about something that utterly frustrates me beyond belief. And, well, let's just jump right in. So, right before the end of the year, 12 days before the new year, we were thrust upon a new omnibus spending bill. And what that means, if you don't know, basically the government was getting ready to run out of money. We have spending budgets that limit how much our government can spend, and so every couple of years there comes this big emergency session where we have to decide: are we going to keep the government open and start spending money? And so, you know, putting all of that aside, we'll talk about that some other day probably. But what's utterly frustrating for me is that this waits till the last minute to where, right around Christmas time, the new year, holidays, nobody's paying attention to this. And they ram through this massive spending bill. And we're just now finding out what's exactly in it. And today we're going to talk about an article from the Wall Street Journal. And this is called the IRA Bait and Switch. And it's by the editorial board. It was published on December 22nd. And if you're interested, if you're listening to this on Fear Free Passive Investing podcast, it'll be down in the description. You'll be able to read it for yourself. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be down in the description. Just click the link and you'll be able to read it. It might be behind a paywall. I apologize for that, but we'll read it. So what is this? So the spending bill was signed into law with 12 days before the end of the year, I believe, somewhere around there. And it basically says that if you inherit an IRA, an individual retirement account, you are now required to empty it within 10 years. So that doesn't seem like a big difference, but if you were to inherit an IRA before then, you could stretch that out over your lifetime. So if someone was 3 years old and they inherited an IRA, they could have that for their whole life, to build wealth, to continue to reinvest it and everything. No more. Now you have to empty it within 10 years. So why is this important? So you could have someone who is 90 years old and they have been saving in this IRA for decades. They've been putting money away because they want to put it into a tax advantaged account to pass it on to their heirs so that they continue to grow wealth after they're gone. Now imagine a 99-year-old investing their entire life savings into an IRA to pass it on to their heirs, and they have the unfortunate circumstance of dying at January 1, 12:01 a.m. Now, instead of having their whole life to spend this bill or to spend this IRA money, now their heirs have to spend it in 10 years. Where if they had just died, conveniently 2 minutes earlier, they could have their entire lifetime to spend this. That's what's so frustrating about this. And this is a cash grab, pure and simple, by politicians. And this is what frustrates me beyond belief. And one of the biggest reasons why I got into politics a long time ago. So what do we do with this information? Well, if you are currently saving in an IRA for this exact purpose, like you want to pass it on to your heirs, you want to build wealth, you're not planning on spending all this money while you're retired, if you want to use this as a growth vehicle, you better have some second thoughts, because this is going to be, something that is going to play into your strategy, and you've got to talk to your financial advisor. You've got to figure something else out. And I can't say what exactly that is. Unfortunately, we're still finding things out about it, but the Secure Act, which was part of this, is such a frustrating piece of legislation. Politicians should be ashamed of themselves for, ramming this through essentially on their citizens. But you can tell I'm a little passionate about this. This is something that is so frustrating with government for me. Is you have a strategy, you plan for wealth, you plan to pass on something and leave your kids a little better than you were. And some politicians, because they want more revenue growth for themselves, they take that away and strip it away. So I don't have the best advice for you. Unfortunately, I wish this was a little different, but it is what it is, and you got to start figuring out another way to do this. So one of those might be investing in real estate, investing in hard assets, not depending on the government for anything. Truly, I think that's a good strategy for anyone. But this is why I harp on political underwriting when you're looking at financial investments is how susceptible is your investment to government overreach? And, you know, clearly this is one of those situations where people are going to get screwed because of this. And, the same people are going to keep their jobs, which is frustrating. So unfortunately, I wish I had a better Friday Five for you, but, it is what it is. And I just wanted everyone to be aware of what this is and how it might affect them if you are planning to pass on an IRA. So if you're watching on YouTube, I really appreciate you listening and watching this. I'd love if you subscribed and click that notification bell. If you're listening on Fear Free Passive Investing, I really appreciate you being subscribed to the podcast. It means a lot to me, and look forward to talking with you again soon. Thanks, everyone.